Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Fourth and Loud Podcast. I'm your host, Jalen Stiff. And today we got a lot to talk about, like Brandon Sorsby, College Football 27, and my personal conclusion, the early Heisman season favorites for this season. But first, there's an important matter. Apologies for the absence for almost 2 weeks. I was at a broadcasting camp in Baltimore, Maryland at Loyola University called the Play-by-Play Sports Broadcasting Camp, one of the most well-known broadcasting camps in the country. I learned a lot during my time there, podcasting like this, PTI like Pardon the Interruption, sports debating, and a lot of stuff around the sports broadcasting business. I made a lot of cool friends from different places, some from Pennsylvania to Maryland, Delaware, Alabama, even that far out. I met a lot of cool people, met a lot of interesting characters, especially the counselors and the campers, whether it was the overnight or day only campers. I met a lot of people. I even met an NFL player by the name of Matthew Hibner of the Baltimore Ravens, who was, I believe, the fourth round draft pick from this past NFL draft. Really cool guy. I met Jerry Coleman, Luke Jones, Jim Pastos. I met a lot of interesting people. I've been to the Ravens state, did a tour of the Ravens stadium, which was really cool. Got to take a look at the locker room. Even got a cool pic in the locker room, a cool picture I meant of the locker room. Went to the suites, like the Under Armour suite, the new Black Wing clubs. It was a really cool experience. So I just came in on hold on, let me pull the calendar up here, show you guys. I came back here on Friday night, June 26th. This fixed. So yeah, that's the reason why I was gone. I did learn a lot. And plus, hold on, I'm gonna show you a little something. It was the 25th anniversary of Play by Play, and I got this pretty cool T-shirt. What do you think? I think it looks pretty good. What do y'all think? But anyway, we got more important matters on the hand, such as that this ESPN headline here by Pete Thelma, Adam Schefter. The NFL will now hold a supplemental draft this year for, Brandon Sorsby. As we all know about Sorsby, this is the guy who placed thousands of bets throughout his college career, which concluded up to $90,000, which we all know he shared a sportsbook account with a fellow friend. He got caught, went to rehab, wasn't allowed to play college football, got a temporary injunction from a local judge, and then it got shut down because of the backlash in Sorsby. What's the right word? Sorsby said that he wouldn't he wouldn't play college football for the year, due to the amount of backlash. So then the best path for him, like I said on previous episodes about this whole mess, was the supplemental draft. That was supposed to be held, I believe, this late June, early July. But right here on this ESPN headline, the NFL has said they're not doing a supplemental draft this year. This would be the fourth season in a row that the NFL hasn't had a supplemental draft. And plus, I also found this out a little later. It's not in my notes, but I found this out later that the NFL draft beforehand didn't have a supplemental draft in like 3 seasons before this. And plus, he submitted his application for the supplemental draft 3 days, I should say, not 3 weeks, 3 days before the deadline. So he most likely was going to get it in anyway. But we're not going to look at the ESPN article, as we all know what Sorsby did, and also in other news, as it says right here, that the CFL won't allow Brandon Sorsby to join the league, as it states right here. Hold on, let me just pause this video. According to the CFL, they are upholding the integrity of the league and ensuring fair competition are paramount to the CFL. Basically, according to the CFL, the whole Sorsby situation will be a bad look if the CFL allows Sorsby to join because CFL is taking these allegations extremely seriously, as well as the NCAA and the NFL, which means that Sorsby would have to wait out this year and hopefully wait till next year to be in the NFL draft if teams are willing to select them, which there most likely are. But in my opinion, that he'll probably at best be a late round pick. This is the best because of the risk factor, and that scandal is going to stick to his football career forever. So at best, he will be a no. I shouldn't say late round pick. Maybe a mid round pick if a team gets desperate. A mid round pick. Normally it would be a late round pick, but I think at best he'll be like a mid round. He'll be a mid round pick. If not the NFL, then he can go to the UFL. Hopefully, maybe earlier he can probably join the UFL, or hey, the CFL maybe change their minds a year later and allow him to play if he cuts out, his gambling. For me, the best option, if I was him, if I was towards me, not apart from the game, I'm talking about for my career, I would have, like I said, those three options: the NFL, the CFL, the UFL. For a dark horse option, it would be oh, like a semi-pro football league, like a AF, like the or NFL, if that thing is still around. Those are the best three options for me. I personally I see Sorsby making either the NFL, those three options. I see them making either the NFL, CFL, or UFL. He'll probably go to the UFL. I feel like the UFL would really give him a fair shot, in my opinion. In my opinion, he can bounce. On my takes, he can bounce back. He can use this as motivation, considering that if he trains this still current off season, this during the college football season, and a little bit of the next year's off season, I think Sorsby can bounce back from this. Hopefully, I'm praying that he does bounce back because I never pray misfortune on another football player. I mean, that's pretty messed up in my opinion. But I think Sorsby can potentially bounce back with those three options. I feel like the UFL will actually give him a fair chance because you've seen the UFL is filled with people who were told no by the NFL teams or people who were in the NFL looking to get back into the league. And we've seen UFL players make their way to the NFL and make a real impact. Like what's his name? Brandon Aubrey. He's arguably the best kicker in the NFL right now. Kevontae Turpin is another one. I know there's way more, but those are the two things that ring the top of my head. So I think Sorsby can bounce back, and eventually, if the push is strong enough, if he does go to the UFL, push is strong enough, maybe some NFL team will get interest, and he can be like a backup. Who knows? So another thing I wrote down was: Is this punishment worthy? Yes, I think 100%. I think the NCAA's punishment to for Sorsby to not play football this year was definitely warranted. I mean, this would have been a very, and I mean very bad look for the NCAA. Like, because if they allow a student athlete to basically gamble all he wants, the thousands of bets, the $90,000 thing. Basically, if the NCAA allowed that, then any student athlete can gamble on their own time, even if it may rig certain outcomes where athlete may play different to meet a certain quota, whether for themselves or for someone else that they're affiliated with gambling. So I think the NCAA were in the right decision to punish Sorsby and not make him lose his eligibility for this. Hey, sometimes your bad actions or actions in general have consequences. Even even if hey, I was taught that sometimes an outcome, good or bad, can potentially have consequences, whether it's good or bad. It was a bad decision he made, and it came with a predictable bad outcome. That's how life works. And I'm not against Sorsby. I don't hate Sorsby, but I'm just saying that sometimes when you make a bad decision, you can have a devastating consequence. But in the end, I'm still praying best for Sorsby as a whole, and hopefully he looks towards a brighter future. That's what anybody can hope, right? But in other news, hold on, let me pull up the website. And so I got to the news. A lot of very interesting came out from EA Sports about their College Football 27 video game coming out, which I believe comes out on July 9th. Let me see. Yeah, July 9th. And early access will be June 6th for people who pre-ordered the game but didn't get the now MVP Plus membership. Basically, the MVP Plus membership, you get a lot of rewards from it. It does cost a lot more than pre-ordering the deluxe edition. And if you get the MVP Plus, you get the game on July 2nd, which I believe that is on you get on July 2nd on a Thursday. And if you pre-order for deluxe edition, you get it June 6th on a Monday. So so EA has been hyping up Call of Duty 27 for a while now. Ever since the trailer came out, we went out to Chicago and did a whole presentation with the videos of not only College Football 27 but Madden. And I'm not gonna lie, I've been into the hype, and there's been a lot of new stuff that they added that sounds very promising. Because as we all know, College Football 25, man, was one of the arguably one of the most generationally hyped games of my lifetime. I'll never forget when the game was announced back in early February 2021 when EA announced on Twitter that college football gaming was coming back. And then when the trailer came out, it was legendary. Everybody was hyped up for the trailer. And then when the game came out, it was good. I mean, was it the best game in the college football game in the world? No. But it was a pretty good game. Plus, it was the first college football game we had in over a decade. And those nights of just playing with your friends or playing by yourselves, either on Dynasty, Road to Glory, was just so much fun, you know? And then when 26 came out, a lot of people viewed 26 as a disappointment, and I agree. To a extent, it was a disappointment. But honestly, I kinda liked 26. It kinda felt a bit more immersive with the presentation, and I did like the new Road to Glory angle a little bit, and I like the gameplay. I prefer simulation over arcade, but that's not important. But today, College Football 27 added back to what I was saying about College Football 27, it added a lot of new information, a lot of new improvements compared to 26. Like for Dynasty, there's a new blueprint system, which allows you to as a coach, it allows you to create a whole new blueprint for your program. There are now athletic director expectations. So basically, picture this, say you are Ryan Day of Ohio State, right? You're already a national championship coach. So your athletic director will have expectations like, like win a Big 12 championship, not Big 12, Big 10 championship, or win a national championship. But his most important one will probably to beat Michigan. Because certain athletic directors can value either a championship more or a rivalry more. And then if you meet that expectations, the most likely your job is going to be more secure, as it is in real life. But if you begin to slip up and start losing, then you get on the hot seat and could potentially become fired. So I like the new athletic threat expectations because now it adds real pressure to your dynasty. So now there's new dynasty points. Basically, they added more dynasty points to help improve your program more. Whether for your coach, like if you want to do a certain aspect in recruiting or game planning, for your assistant coaches as well, so they can get approved their ratings or skill sets improved. I'm just saying ratings skill set in basic terms. There's now more NIL involved. Actually is NIL involvement for the past 2 years, and I remember this from College Football 25 when they announced that NIL was going to be in the game but it was only really in Road to Glory, and Road to Glory is just full of scenarios that they give you every week with the NIL basically becoming either fictional or real life companies with their likeness offering your player, their name, image, and likeness for their commercials. But now the fact there's now NIL involvement in Dynasty is great because it wasn't in the game for the past 2 years. And I think that really adds more to the recruiting aspect of said Dynasty mode. Now there's more facility upgrades. So basically, there's actually now a grading system with F being the worst and A being the best for your facility upgrades. And those are also important in aspects of recruiting because some players, they like, some players value facilities. I mean, we've seen this before in real life and in this game and in this franchise. Now, facility upgrades do matter in aspects of college football. Basically, the best facilities basically churns out the best players compared to more worser facilities. There's also more staff investment. Basically, you can invest more into your coaching staff. Hold on, I wrote also more notes about this, but I feel like I don't want to talk about the same thing, regurgitate the same thing over and over again. But basically, more staff investment. Basically, like I said, you can invest in your staff more, Actually, you can look into offensive and defensive coordinators more. You can actually replace them around conference championship weekend, I believe, and and then you can have they can either move in or move out. That's what I'm saying. They can move. You can move in and move out. You can invest way more into your staff, and also, like I said, on the coaching part, an improved coaching carousel. As I said, so you can really get rid of your offensive coordinators or not your coordinators in general, either during the season or after the season. Particularly, you can get rid of them around the conference championship period and put in new, especially since they can actually leave like an offensive and defensive coordinator. Let me stop saying that. Or coordinators in general can leave as a whole around conference championship weekend to other schools. So I think that adds a bit more to the realism aspect. Also, you have a weekly a weekly recap show. So basically they go over. I don't know if this is actually true. I don't think they added a weekly recap show. Hold on, let me look that up for facts because I don't want to mislead my audience. I'm gonna see if this is actually true. Hold on. Let me search this up on Google. It'd be better if I search it up on Google because Bing can be really weird at times sometimes. Oh, okay, yes it is. Basically, like I say right here on this Google AI overview, even though we don't really use AI on this channel. Basically, it's basically like I said, it's an immersive feature designed to keep your Dynasty mode feeling a lot like a living, breathing season. And there actually is, like I said, a weekly recap show. And also, EA has admitted that they changed up the stories a bit more to make more immersive, more realistic instead of the past 2 years where it was kind of the same thing. So now the weekly recap show basically brings in a new breath of fresh air and allows more, like I said, more immersiveness to Dynasty mode, basically. Along with the dynamic new stories, I just went over the weekly cap show. But here's but next up is one of my favorite parts of Dynasty mode. There's now an animated Heisman ceremony. Yeah, so there's now, you know how instant football, now this my audience may be real young, but they might not know this, but in NCAA football '06, they had a whole animated Heisman ceremony where it introduces the players and their schools, their stat lines, what they did, and then at the end they would announce the Heisman Trophy winner. Now this is actually really, really cool. I think this is a really cool ability, really cool thing that the EA has added, and honestly, it's kind of one of the more least talked about things in the community because I feel like most people don't really remember this except if you play NCAA '06 Dynasties mode or seen a lot of NCAA '06 videos on YouTube. But honestly, I think that animated Heisman ceremony is really, really cool. I really like that. So now on to gameplay. They improved more wide receiver and DV matchups. Basically, EA has amped up the defense this time. This time, as we will get into later, but they also improved wide receiver matchups too. So now you can do a lot more stuff on wide receiver. They did add a new thing though, where you gotta there's a meter to have your catches. Red is not gonna be caught at all. I think it was yellow or orange. I think orange. I think yellow mean no orange. It was orange. It was orange. Orange means that it would most likely be dropped by like the pass would be more like it wouldn't be dropped. It could be caught. It's like a mismatch. Like it could, but it couldn't. Green is an absolute like it will be caught. I know some people didn't like that ability because it kind of made the game kind of seem more like 2K. Because in 2K when you shoot a shot, right? When you shoot a shot, there's a meter, and then you got like early, late, and you got the green window, which is like perfect. But a lot of people don't really like that, and some people have admitted that they're gonna turn that meter off, and I will be one of those people because I feel like I don't know, greening a catch in a football video game, it just don't ring right to me. And we'll get to the 2K element stuff later, particularly to Road to Glory. But it did add more realistic route running compared to last year. There's now more smarter coverage packages now. You can run different coverage. They added more coverage packages to the game. Hold on. Let me grab this other part. They added more pre-snap adjustments for both offense and defense. So now you can actually change. So now it gives you more options to change up, your offense or defense before the snap. Let's say you had the coverage that you're going to go into, right? And the offense makes a pre-snap adjustment. So now the defense can also adjust to that. Even though you could do that in the previous 2 years, they just added more to, for the more realism aspect, because only 25 and 26 had pre-snap adjustments, but they were kind of limited, and they just added more like each year. Like in 26 they added more, but 27 they added way more. So way more. So that's great, especially if you're playing for more realistic, like say dynasty, online dynasty, or playing someone online. That's great. They also improve more player movement and animations. Now I know EA's engine, the game engine they used, Frostbite, is animation space, and I know a lot of people don't really like animations in a football game. A lot of people want more simulation, more physics based. And I'm one of those people. But I do like how they did improve player movement. They made player movement more immersive, way better than last year, or these past 2 years. Because player movement in 25 was fast, but sometimes it just felt like your player was too fast and you can get caught up in the backfield. For me personally, I felt like the movement, it can be kind of stiff at times, but the fact that improving player movement and allow players to move a bit more freely is great. There's also better animation. Like I said, improved animations all around, especially with tackling, catching, and all that stuff for a wide receiver or DBs. So now, excuse me, some. So now to my favorite mode of college football 27, and that would be Road to Glory. So now on Road to Glory, when you start the game, you can now do two types of builds: your custom build, or this is the real fun part, a legendary player build. So basically, you can create a Tim Tebow quarterback, a Tim Tebow S quarterback. You can create a Richard Sherman S cornerback. You can create I don't know if I have Barry Sanders, but I know one of the players is LaDainian Thomas. You can create a LaDainian Tomlinson style running back. For wide receiver, I think you can do Calvin Johnson. So that's really I think that's the best part of Road to Glory, the legendary player builds. I just think that's really fun because sometimes even I or some people do wonder, man, like it would be really cool if I could play similarly or the same as this legendary, college player. So I think them adding that is really cool. There's also more player progression, or I should say more freely player projection. Now, sure, there will be caps. Yes, that's why I said the 2K elements will come back, especially for the lore. Now, the past 2 year game did have caps, but you couldn't break them. Once you reach that limit, it just stayed there. So now in College Football 27, you can actually get something similar to 2K. It's called cap breakers. Well, not for 27. I'm talking about for like 2K. They're called cap breakers. But basically, I'm just calling cap breakers for this game too. So if you do play particularly well, you can actually break the cap on that and extend more into that players ratings. And I really think that's really cool. Cool. There's also way more player customization. Now they got hanging mouth guards now with actual physics to them, and that's great. That's great. I do wish it was kind of like not like the pacifier looking ones, but the ones where it's hanging, but it has like the pacifying mouth guards. I really kind of want that because those are my kind of favorite type of mouth guards. I do think the fact they have hanging mouth guards now is great because a lot of people wanted them so badly these past 2 years. They want them way more equipment because this year there were a lot of equipment people, man, a lot of equipment people. Like Catholic Pac-Man, for example, on Twitter, who's done really great stuff. Well, artwork for make for suggestions for EA to put in College Football 27. They're really cool. Go check it out on Twitter. I mean, it's amazing. Like it's truly amazing. Amazing. They also fixed the helmet tilt on the Speed Flex, or really all the helmets, because the past 2 years it kind of just looked like it was just kind of like hanging low instead of more hanging more upwards, like in real life. So I think that's great. Great. They also changed the shoulder pad lengths, which I do think is great. I do think 26 is like the thin builds. I do think they look the closest to real life, how shoulder pads look. Because shoulder pads aren't, big and bulky like how they used to back in like the 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s. They're now way more thinner, way more smaller, kind of like around the late 2010s and right now in the 2020s. They added more. They added team branded towels now, so you can have a white towel, and I'm using this because I'm a fan of this team. As a Florida, you can use a white towel with the Florida State logo on it. So, and then they also got personalized back plates. Not like you can customize it. Let's say you're for Notre Dame, right? You can instead of having just the Notre Dame logo on it, because 26 in the update, 26 added personalized back plates. You can now put the what's the name of that sign that Notre Dame has? Oh, hold on, wrong website. 'Cause I feel like I know. I feel like I know this one. Hold on, not sign in. I'm talking about the sign. The play like a. You can put the play like a champion today sign on the back on the back play of your player, and that's really cool. And that's like I said there is better, more immersion. They added way more scenarios. They allowed the player to invest more into their road to glory player. So now you can do things differently. However, there is perceived caution. If you do play bad, some trades will get worse over time compared to if you play good, they'll get better and better and better and better. Better so better so hey, I would say just play good. No, like I said, I already mentioned the new upgrade system with cap breakers, and the caps will be broken, and you can't break the caps this time compared to in the past, where if you reach that limit, you couldn't pass it no longer. And I think that's great, great. Also, another mode that EA has finally added into game mascot, the mascot matchup or mascot mode is now in the game. So now this year, EA has added 120 mascots into the game, and now you can play as them. However, there is a catch with this, unfortunately. You gotta unlock the mascots. But EA didn't hide them behind a paywall or anything, which is great. Great, because when I heard they gotta unlock it, I was really bummed out they had to unlock them. But when I found out there wasn't no like paywall behind it, that's great. So basically, the EA said that the more you play 27, the more you will unlock the mascots through like achievements and stuff, which I thought was great. Which I think, hey, that's like a reward type of thing. Okay, and I say, huh, I can kind of get behind that. Now look, I'm not like a EA type of guy. I have my own problems with EA Sports. I do think that the working for the reward part, I think that's pretty cool. Though, if you do get the MVP Plus membership, you do unlock all the mascots. So, and I'm not getting the MVP Plus membership. I am gonna pre-order the game because I'm getting it on both PC and I don't know if you can, and right there you see I am getting it on my PlayStation. But that's for someone else too though. But yeah, the ability to play with mascots again, really cool, really really cool. So my thoughts for this game is I do think that this game is going to be a really good game. Will it be the best college football game of all time, as some people may try to seem like it is? No. We got games like NCAA football 06 and 14 that can take that crown. But I do think this game, hopefully, I do think this game can help the series get back on track after the seemingly disappointing 26. It's just with all the new stuff that they added in. I think EA has kind of outdone themselves this year. I feel like the EA College Football 27 community, actually the EA College Football 2017 or the EA Sports College Football video game series team actually cares more about the game compared to the more Madden team. I'm not trying to knock on Madden, but I feel like the dev team for this game actually cares about the game compared to Madden, in my opinion. So in the end, my thoughts, I think this game will be a hit. I don't know about a smash hit, but I do think this game will be better than 26. I don't know if we reached the popularity of 25. I do think 25 is kind of overrated because we waited so long for a college football game. It was a good game, but I don't know. I don't know. I feel like the game can be overrated at times. But in the end, I think EA has really outdone themselves. I already said that. I know, but like I said again, I think EA has really outdone themselves with college football 27, and I hopefully towards the future it'll be remembered as a good as a just a good game. Maybe not a great game. I just want you to make good games again. You know. So now we're getting into my favorite part of the video besides the college football 27 news. We're now gonna look at my early Heisman 2026 contenders. Now I'm not falling off this list by Microsoft Copilot, because I have my own list. So just ignore all the top quarterbacks right here, and let's just focus more importantly on who I have. So I have 4 players. One of them is a dark horse pick, but I have 4 players. um, Dante Moore of Oregon, Arch Manning from Texas, and if I got to go with a bit of a hot take, Trinidad Chambliss. He is back at Ole Miss. He fought for an extra year. And for my dark horse candidate, I'm gonna get my man out of Ohio State, Jeremiah Smith, who I believe is the best wide receiver in all college football. Malachi Twain could give him a run for his money in the next season, but right now it's Smith by a landslide. So I think Moore is honestly the more prepared out of my whole list, despite having a bit of a rough end to his season last year, which I did read that he was going through a lot last year, which I do kind of feel bad but I think out of all those people I just named, I think he can probably take the Heisman. To be fair, this is my early Heisman season favorites. This list will change over time as more live streams in the future. Either this summer or this fall or upcoming season, it will change. But right now, I have Moore as my favorite, despite most people probably thinking Arch Manning or Julian saying I feel like Moore. He's a really great quarterback. He has elite arm talent. He's a really good quarterback. I do think that his pocket presence ability needs to be worked on, especially the way that it happened against Indiana in the semifinals. I mean, that was rough. But I feel like with Moore, I mean, he was considered a top 5 draft pick because most people thought he was going to go to the Jets last year, but he said that he was going to stay one more year. So I think Moore, if he can still live up to that NFL hype, I do think that he could be a pretty good candidate for the Heisman. Now we got everyone's favorite or everyone's front runner right now. That's Arch Manning out of Texas. Arch Manning, the son of Cooper Manning's son, with his uncles being, the Hall of Famer Peyton Manning, the greatest regular season quarterback of all time, and his other uncle Eli Manning. So I feel like with Arch is a good quarterback. I do think last year he got off to a very rough start. I mean, his first game as a true starter was against Ohio State, and I think people were calling him, making all those AI videos of him like working at McDonald's. I feel like that was a bit unfair, and I admit he was very rocky, but he did get better as the season went on, especially with that. Was it a Cheez-It Bowl or some stuff? I think the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl against Michigan. He played good in that game. I think with Arch, he does have elite weapons. I mean, he is playing at Texas after all. Well, and he has like I said right here, a strong offensive line. So I understand why Manning is the front runner. Though I do think I do think this past season woes early on still kind of affects my vision of him. I do think he will be way better this year compared to last year. But I still feel like I got to go with Moore because I feel like he is more experienced with this type of college football compared to Arch, who only played his first true season as a starter, compared to being a red shirt in 2023 and being Quinn Ewers' backup in 2024. So I got Arch second on my list. list. For next, I got now this is a bit of a hot take. I got Trinidad Chambliss. Now I know Trinidad Chambliss, I feel like with him, he's the perfect underdog story. I mean, came from FCS Sacramento State, came to Ole Miss, was the backup behind what was his name? He was the backup behind somebody. Hold on, look up Trin. I'm gonna look up Trinidad Chambliss, but I forgot who the guy he was behind. What was it? Was it? No, it wasn't Chambliss. Hold on, it was. Hold on. Actually, let me look up something better. No, hold on. Let me fix this real quick. There you go. Who was Trinidad Chambliss behind at first? Nah, that does look a little crazy, but if you're trying to understand, because there was another Austin Simmons. Yeah, he was the backup behind Austin Simmons. Then Simmons got hurt, and then Chambliss, went ahead and the rest is Ole Miss history. I mean, they didn't win the SEC championship game, obviously, but they did meet the playoffs. And Chambliss was playing great throughout the season. I think he played pretty good in his role, role despite the loss to Miami. But I don't really blame that on Chambliss. I more or less blame that on the Ole Miss defense choking, on the last drive of the game. So I feel like with Chambliss, he has shown that no matter where he's at, whether that was Ferris State, the FCS school, or a big stage in the SEC and Ole Miss, he's shown that he can handle the expectations. It's just now since the NCAA gave him an extra year of eligibility, I feel like Chambliss can really, really turn some heads this year and can and is to me, he's a Heisman contender. Despite most people probably thinking he's not. Most people probably will say CJ Carr or Gunnar Stockton or the more popular option Julian Saint, who almost made it to my list. As for for a dark horse candidate, I got the man, the myth, the Ohio State legend so far, Jeremiah Smith. Jeremiah Smith, man, like he's a baller. He's probably one of the better wide receivers in college football in my lifetime. I mean, the hype he had in high school, he went to Ohio State, broke out as a true freshman. I mean, he was elite. The Ryan Williams and the Jeremiah Smith debate ran crazy in 2024, even though it was very obvious that Smith was a better player as the season went on, and especially when he won the national title. And then last year, Smith played pretty good too. Even in the not the semifinal, but the quarterfinal loss to Miami in the playoffs, Smith played great. It's just that Julian Sand didn't play particularly well that game. But I feel like for you're talking about for dark horse, Jeremiah Smith, in my opinion, is the dark horse for the Heisman. I mean, he's a very athletic guy. I mean, he's the type of guy that you dream of as a wide receiver. I mean, he's fast. He can jump. He can catch at a pretty great level. I mean, he's a what's the right word? I mean, like I was gonna say standout, but he's a really, really good player, and he's obviously the best college football player, not football player, best college wide receiver right now. This, despite the fact that he didn't win the Blitnikoff last year, Makai Lemon out of USC won it. Though I would have given it to Smith, and right now there's a new competitor on the rise. That's Malachi Tony, because last year as a freshman, he really broke out as one of the stars of college football. I mean, he made the cover of college football 27. But I feel like with Smith is to me the definitive number one wide receiver, and he is gonna be my dark horse. I mean, his stats are crazy. I mean, last year he had 87 catches for like 1,240 yards and 12 touchdowns. And they say he was the fastest Buckeye to reach 2,000 receiving yards, 100 catches, and 25 touchdowns in a career, which shows that he's already a Ohio State legend in the making, and this is his junior year. This could be his potentially last season because we all know he's gonna go to the NFL after this year. So I feel like with Smith, he's a real Heisman candidate, even though the Heisman the Heisman is primarily more of an offensive award, but it's not really particularly biased to quarterbacks, despite quarterbacks winning it more recently. I mean, take Travis Hunter in 2024. He won it as a wide receiver and cornerback with his elite athleticism. Travis Hunter has elite athleticism. So I feel like if Hunter can win it as wide receiver and cornerback, even though Smith is not a cornerback, I feel like if Jeremiah Smith has a generational season at Ohio State for his junior year, kind of similar to Devontae Smith at his Heisman winning season at Alabama in 2020. I mean, hey, Smith can probably put up those similarly. He put up very similar numbers to Devontae Smith's season in 2020. That's why he's my dark horse. So in the end, for my Heisman list, I'm gonna give it right now. Even though this is way too early, to Dante Moore. I feel like he's more prepared. He's a more prepared quarterback. I think he'll be way better this year. I feel like he can improve on his pocket presence ability. Cause he's shown he has an elite. Show he has a pretty good arm. He has really good weapons. I mean, he's at Oregon, so he has one of the best receiving cores in the country, and he just has so much weapons right now, and he's looking to build on a stronger season this year. And right now he has my vote. But most importantly, I asked for your guys' intake for your Heisman, either for your Heisman picks, your college football 27 expectations, or your thoughts on the Brandon Swisman situation. Because you, the viewers, your opinions matter too. So I would like to hear you guys' intake. Also, I would like to remind you to like and subscribe. I'm trying to get back in rotation after, like I said, this past broadcasting camp, as I showed y'all earlier. My bad for the stuttering, but but yeah, I'm really trying to get back, and there will be a live stream, I believe, as I pull up on my calendar. I will be free on the 30th or the 1st. So look out for either new video or stream, because right now my internet has gotten way better. Way better. Sorry for the last time I streamed. I was having poor connection with that. So either on the upcoming Tuesday or Wednesday, there will be a new video or live stream up for you guys. So stay tuned for that. So that's pretty much all I have for today's video. This video will be uploaded tomorrow. Will be scheduled to be uploaded tomorrow morning. Currently it's 11, and I really don't want to upload this video at 30 minutes to midnight or at midnight. So this video will be uploaded tomorrow morning, I believe, at 8 o'clock. So yeah, that's all I have to say for this video. It's a live stream, but we're gonna try to streaming on Tuesday and Wednesday. So yeah, that's all I have for today's podcast for the Fourth and Loud podcast. I'm your host, Jalen Stiff, signing out. And I will see you guys Wednesday or Tuesday.